American woman who served for 20 years in uniform and continue to serve in the United States Congress. At the age of 17, when I entered the United States Naval Academy, I first took the oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I subsequently repeated that oath 6 times at every promotion in rank, and most recently when I had the honor to become a member of Congress. Is that not enough to prove my loyalty to our nation?
All right, guys, this one cuts deep. What you're about to witness goes far beyond a routine congressional exchange. It's a test of loyalty, integrity, and truth. On one side stands a decorated veteran, a woman who has served under the flag and carried the burden of command for decades. On the other, Ilhan Omar, a figure whose words have ignited outrage, controversy, and division nationwide. When the question of loyalty itself arises within Congress, it signals something profoundly wrong. This moment isn't just political. It's a reckoning over who truly stands for America and who undermines it from within. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, just her 7th week in office, again enduring sharp backlash after challenging support for Israel. The latest, a series of tweets Sunday that were criticized as anti-Semitic. First, in response to this threat from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
They do not take action. I think you'll see action from myself on ways that this cannot sustain itself. It's unacceptable in this country.
I deployed 6 times, serving in 6 ships in the Middle East and Western Pacific, working under challenging conditions while operating complex weapon systems, overseeing nuclear reactors, driving ships, and ultimately commanding a combat-ready unit of 400 sailors. Is that not enough to prove my loyalty to our nation?
Representative Ella Lura stood tall, her voice slicing through the chamber with unmistakable conviction. A 20-year Navy veteran, commander of warships, and a woman who swore the oath to defend this nation 7 times. Yet today, she found herself forced to prove her loyalty because of Ilhan Omar's rhetoric. Words that accused Jewish members of Congress of holding dual loyalty. Think about that. Someone who bled for this country had to defend her faith, her identity, and her service because another lawmaker chose to weaponize prejudice under the guise of criticism.
In the first 3 years my husband and I were married, we spent almost 2 years apart so that we could both serve at sea and deploy 3 times. Is that not enough to prove my loyalty to our nation? Am I to look back on my military career and the sacrifices it meant for my family and remain silent in the face of people questioning my loyalty to our country? I believe that I speak clearly for all fellow Jewish veterans that this echoes of language that has been used to marginalize and persecute the Jewish people for centuries. The recent accusations of dual loyalty call into question the equal footing of Jewish members in elected office and, by extension, all Jews living in America. I'm proud to vote on this resolution in condemnation of this rhetoric.
This isn't about a tweet or a fleeting controversy. It's a reflection of how far our moral compass has slipped when anti-Semitic undertones echo through the very halls meant to protect democracy. Ilhan Omar's remarks didn't merely offend. They reopened wounds that span generations, reviving the same toxic insinuations that once fueled persecution across the world. She may frame her words as mere critique, but millions recognize them for what they are. Rhetoric that casts suspicion on an American's patriotism simply because of faith. Representative Lura's speech didn't just resonate. It demanded dignity, calling for the respect owed to every Jewish American who has served and sacrificed for this nation.
Mr. Speaker, let's all be honest with each other. We are here today, right now, because of anti-Semitic rhetoric from one member of this chamber said again and again and again. I apparently am giving Rep. Omar more credit than the Speaker is, because I don't believe she is naive. I believe that she knows exactly what she's doing. It is an American value, by the way, to have reasonable, legitimate criticism of a government, whether it be the U.S. government, Israel, or any other government. It is not an American value, though, to be hurling anti-Semitic rhetoric. Anti-Semitism must be condemned unequivocally and emphatically. We have members of this chamber who associate with Louis Farrakhan, who says, quote, Hitler was a very great man. It's time to call out these statements for what they are.
When Lura asked, "Is that not enough to prove my loyalty to our nation?" The chamber fell silent. It wasn't the silence of agreement. It was the silence of realization. Her words transcended politics, reaching every American who understands the price of service. How did we reach a point where a decorated veteran must defend her loyalty because of another representative's rhetoric? That moment felt like a turning point. The mask of political debate fell away, revealing something darker. A public office being used not for unity, but to sow division and suspicion among citizens. With Ilhan Omar's consistent pattern of inflammatory remarks, what once might have been dismissed as inexperience now seemed deliberate, a calculated provocation. And this time, the outrage didn't come from outside critics. It came from within Congress itself, from those who once stood beside her, but could no longer remain silent.
From New Jersey is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a Jewish member of Congress who lost family in the Holocaust and whose grandfather fought the Nazis, I need no reminder about our responsibility to confront bigotry, hatred, and intolerance wherever it is found. No matter how hard one tries, the allegation of dual loyalty simply does not constitute a legitimate opinion about foreign policy. It's a slur against Jews, it's indefensible, and it's deserving of the condemnation by everyone, every time. More than anything, it's offensive to question my loyalty or anyone's loyalty to the United States of America here, simply because I'm Jewish. The same way it was appalling to question President John Kennedy's loyalty to the United States because he was Catholic. I'm glad that Congress is voicing its opposition to anti-Semitism and made it clear that dual loyalty smear is unacceptable. Unfortunately, it was also clear from the discussions this week and the ultimate resolution that anti-Semitism is being treated differently than other forms of bigotry and hatred. There shouldn't be an asterisk next to anti-Semitism, and I'll continue to fight it.
Both parties rose to speak out against something that never should have needed defending in the first place. The dual loyalty smear wasn't just a political misstep. It was a wound reopened. Jewish lawmakers, some carrying the pain of families lost in the Holocaust, stood with emotion heavy in their voices. They reminded the chamber that these words weren't harmless. They echoed with the same poison that once fueled centuries of persecution. And yet, at the center of the storm stood Ilhan Omar, her stance unchanged, her tone unwavering. For millions of Jewish Americans watching, this wasn't politics. It was personal proof that even within America's most powerful halls, old prejudices can still find new breath.
Remarkably, Mr. President, for the second time in just the last 3 weeks, Speaker Pelosi apparently feels compelled to have her members vote on a resolution that would reportedly condemn anti-Semitism. A resolution that will purportedly condemn anti-Semitism. Unfortunately, again, for the second time in just the last 3 weeks, this seems to be in response to the invocation of crude, hateful, and backward anti-Semitic stereotypes by one specific freshman member of the House Democratic majority. This Democratic Congresswoman already stoked controversy in mid-February, having publicly proclaimed that Israel supporters are only in it for the money.
When the debate reached the Senate, shock had already turned to exhaustion. Lawmakers found themselves passing another resolution condemning anti-Semitism, the second in just 3 weeks, all because of one member's words, Ilhan Omar. It was surreal, almost absurd, that one representative's rhetoric could repeatedly drag Congress into the same cycle of division and distrust. As Speaker Pelosi fought to hold her majority together, Americans watching from home asked the same question. How is this still happening? This wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was a deliberate test of limits, a challenge to see how far hateful insinuations could stretch under the shield of free speech before someone finally said enough.
Apparently, she believes the only reason leaders would stand with the Jewish people and the state of Israel is Jewish money. Well, I think we've all heard that kind of talk before, and we must not tolerate it. During my time in the Senate, I've had the honor of traveling all over America. I know I speak for colleagues on both sides of the aisle when I say that support for the state of Israel and the U.S.-Israel relationship is deeply felt all across America. Our relationship is built on common values and democratic principles. Our shared interests, close partnerships, and deep friendships. The support for Israel that you see in this chapter, in this chamber, is not the work of some shadow conspiracy.
Omar's defenders claim she's only criticizing Israel. But there's a line between fair criticism and age-old prejudice, and she's crossed it time and again. When she said support for Israel was all about the Benjamins, it wasn't bold commentary. It was a centuries-old stereotype reborn. America's alliance with Israel isn't built on money or manipulation. It's founded on shared values, democracy, liberty, and strength. Yet, her framing dismisses that entirely, suggesting conviction can be bought. Each time she speaks this way, it's not just Israel's image she tarnishes, it's America's moral standing and the honor of those who stand by their ally out of principle, not profit.
The members of this body support Israel because so many Americans support Israel. I'd hoped this regrettable episode might have caused this lawmaker to be more careful with her language. But alas, just a few weeks later, here we are again. More anti-Semitic tropes. This time she claims that supporters of Israel have actually, quote, an allegiance to a foreign country. That's the old, ugly, dual loyalty smear, Mr. President, plain as day. We should also not overlook that in a few cases, these anti-Semitic statements have provoked offensive anti-Muslim comments in response. That is hateful and completely inexcusable.
As the final speeches faded through the chamber, one truth rang clear. Ilhan Omar had gone too far again. Her words didn't just provoke debate. They forced war heroes, Holocaust survivors, and Jewish patriots to prove their loyalty to a nation that should never have asked them to. In a country that prides itself on equality and justice, this moment felt like a step backward, a reminder that division still hides in plain sight. What happened wasn't politics. It was a warning. Even in the halls meant to unite America, prejudice still lingers, waiting for someone careless enough to give it a